means it is go time for Cordkillers. Cordkillers, of course, is the internet's, this is no BS, the internet's longest running news program about cutting the cable cord. And all of you guys remember when you were thinking about cutting the cable cord? Me and Tom were the ones who incepted that idea into your brain.
We did that. We did that. We may have put some other things there, but we're not telling until they incept.
That's right.
So for now, just cutting the cord, which is starting to feel like an old-fashioned term.
Cutting
right?
the cord, yeah.
We're now
you have to explain what the cord was.
Yeah, like, wait, cable. I think my parents have that still. Yeah. They have that in their daily newspaper delivered to their driveway.
I got lots to report on what it was like to do, to be traveling on the road. Boy, let me see if I can.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Oh, here.
Hope people enjoyed our, it seemed like people really enjoyed our evergreen episodes that we did over the past 2 weeks.
It always sneaks up on me how much the hardware contingency really digs the hardware.
Yeah. It's just there's not much in this space that's new with the hardware, so we don't get to talk about it that often, because it's occasionally a new model comes out or something like that. Yeah. But yeah.
Iterative.
Yeah.
It's evolutionary, not revolutionary. I just made that up.
Oh, that's very clever. I like it.
Yeah, no one's ever said that.
You're doing the marketing.
Yeah.
All right. I got my doc in front of me, so I'm ready to start whenever you are.
I'm ready.
Okay. Take us in at your leisure, Ryan.
Engage. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cordkillers. The world of entertainment is turned upside down, and we're just left here trying to find out how to watch what we want, where we want, whenever we want. I'm Tom Merritt. Brian Brushwood joining me. Brian, where's the good stuff?
Tom, we are joined live now by Tom Merritt, all the way from sunny California, where we're taking our glasses off and putting them back on repeatedly. Repeatedly.
That's right, Brian, because nothing says things are serious more than someone who looks like an anchor man taking off their glasses, Walter Cronkite style.
It's just, I see. I always go Keith Olbermann. I'm like, how dare you, sir? Resign, sir.
Yeah, you got to do it a little faster to do the Olbermann.
Yeah, but then I'm going to screw up my in-ear monitors. Hey, Tom, we're back to the show.
Yes,
that
Brian.
was a heck of a break that we just took.
What do you mean break? We did episodes every week these past 2 weeks.
There were
our
episodes
little
that came
doppelgangers
out.
were there.
Yeah, that's right.
It seems like everybody really liked our software and hardware episodes. So if you'd like us to do those again, we can sort of update that because things change over time in the next 6 months or so, maybe. Let us know, cordkillers@gmail.com. We had a lot of fun doing them.
Absolutely.
Shall we move to the supply run then?
Indeed, sir.
Supply run.
Now, when you've been doing a show like Cordkillers, as long as Brian and I have been doing it, sometimes it just feels comfortable, especially after a couple weeks break, to play to your roots. So our supply run story today is about Netflix. It's like the old days when it was the only story we ever had. Netflix reported that its revenue rose 13% on the year last quarter, exactly as analysts expected, and therefore they got punished because the trouble was what came after the, hey, we did great revenue. Netflix forecast for Q3 was below what analysts thought it should be, and they already thought it would be slowing down, and Netflix is like, it might slow down a little more than you thought. So what is a heritage streamer like Netflix to do? Let's go through some of the things that they talked about, and Brian is going to grade them like a professor, like a professor of Netflixology.
Which, again, is very weird, Tom, because there's literally nobody else on the planet more qualified than you and I
there's kind of not. That's no joke.
I just knocked over a light.
We're also going to we're also going to brainstorm a little bit about what we think that Netflix should do. Let's start with one of the first things they talked about, which is live event programming. Live event programming accounted for 6 of the top 10 new member sign-up days over the last 5 years for Netflix. That means we did a live show and we got a bunch of people signed up for Netflix that weren't Netflix subscribers. Live also lets Netflix sell ads even to the ad-free customers, because when it's live, you got ad breaks. And they're not going to not show you an ad. They're just going to say, like, yes, we know you have the ad-free plan, but for live events, it's kind of normal in the US anyway to have the ads. And Netflix said on their earnings call, they're considering bidding for streaming rights for the 2030 and 2034 editions of the World Cup. Now, whether they get them in all the regions or not, I doubt. But yeah, maybe locking them up in a couple of major regions would be a great way to get new subscribers. What do you think of the plan of more live, Brian?
I think this is the single biggest thing that they should be pushing on. I think it's the only place that you can apply pressure that forces people to cross that threshold to sign up. Now, luckily, it's practically frictionless. It's very, very easy to click and say, okay, fine, just give me the thing. I'll fix it later. And in fact, that friction is about to get even lower because you're not even going to be the one hitting the button. You're going to say to your robot assistant, just get me the thing. Do whatever you have to do to cause the thing to get on there. What I'll be curious to see is whether or not anybody avails themselves of the two-way street of that friction. Easy onboarding usually means easy offboarding as well. I think people are going to stick around. I think that in general, you're going to tell yourself, I'll pay $11 for this month or whatever the number is. And then 4 months later, you'll realize that you never turned it on again and you paid $50 for that, but you will not blame Netflix. You will blame yourself. And meanwhile, Netflix will constantly, you'll never be more than 6 weeks away from a tentpole event. I think this is the best play that Netflix has, especially because they've been there for a few you had to be there once in a lifetime moments. Yeah. You know, the Paul Tyson fight, for example.
Yeah, and I think they're going to try to move away from just being seen as the novelty place for the Paul Tyson fight to, hey, you want to come here for the NFL? You want to come here for the World Cup? You want to have Netflix for other big tentpole events. And I think what they're trying to manage is to do that without getting sucked into the rights world where they're paying so much money to be like YouTube is for NFL Sunday Ticket or something like that. They're trying to straddle that line. But top marks for the live strategy. Next one is bundles. Bring on the add-ons. They're already doing this in France with TF1. The network in France. Buzz is that they're talking to NBC about doing it with Peacock so that you could add Peacock to your Netflix subscription. They're also kicking around the idea of fast channels for their own content. So you could have, for instance, a Stranger Things channel, an Avatar: The Last Airbender channel, and they've actually acknowledged they're considering that. They say they don't have any near-term plans, but the fast channel thing is one they're actually doing. They haven't commented on Peacock. Brian, what do you think of the bundle strategy?
I think that the easy-to-picture thing are like you're talking about, a la Amazon, be able to buy other streaming services through Netflix. I'm less bullish on that because it's not entirely clear what the benefit is. Now, the fast channel idea, I think, is stellar because, of course, they own all the content. What they can do is by sprinkling in, let's go all the way back to MTV, by putting a VJ in there and having it be one live feed and it's there and it's gone and that's it. It becomes a campfire experience. Now, you could do it as an event, a marathon viewing event of a thing, but it could also be an ongoing. For example, I got excited when the local affiliate would yet again go all the way back to the first episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation on its syndication rights, because I knew that at 12:30 in the morning, when I was about to go to bed, I was like, I know what I'm doing for the next, however many days. I could totally see that becoming a must-attend way to also get people, especially if they have novel chat participation stuff. Brief detour here. When I was out on my vacation, we encountered a lot of smart televisions. And I now understand, Tom, why Netflix is doing games, because nobody wanted to hook up doodads and gizmos to this general smart TV. But boy, oh boy, was it easy to throw Quiplash on. I played Skyrim by streaming video game onto a random TV. It was extraordinary. I played Goat Simulator. So I think those kind of bundles and add-ons will have a lot of value.
Yeah, I think it would be smart for Netflix to lean farther into the bundling, because everyone still thinks, man, Netflix was going to be all of TV and they disappointed me. They're not all of TV. But if they become the bundle place, they could be all of TV. They could be the place where, like, yeah, we'll just be your cable company now. What do you want? You want Peacock? You want Apple TV? Whatever you want, add it to Netflix. It's one bill from Netflix. We manage it. It's great. And then Tom, they make all of that affiliate money as well.
Tom, I think I can picture this being a loss leader for Netflix and still be worth doing, because if you make it easy, let's say it's 3 clicks of friction to get on and off of Peacock or whatever, because Peacock doesn't have a big offering. They don't want you leaving. Let's say it's just 1 click via Netflix. So Netflix makes it easy to onboard and offboard. When it comes time to reevaluate who you're going to fire, and you go down the list, everyone is easy to click except for one service. One service will feel you can't keep Hulu or you can't keep Peacock and fire Netflix in that situation.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
And Amazon knows that. They've been playing that game for years.
Exactly.
They just played it too early. I think now is the time to start doing it. So I'll be interested if that Peacock thing happens, because that's a little different than TF1. Netflix adding linear channels, I think, is kind of almost in the fast channel category that you were talking about. Adding actual services like Peacock, I think that'd be an interesting
thing. Could you picture...
Next one.
Just real quick. Could you picture any reality where it's cheaper to get Peacock by way of Netflix than just getting Peacock? Could you see that kind of deal where they're doing it just to pay to acquire new subscribers? Because quarter by quarter, it's getting harder to get new people onto Netflix.
Because, well, Netflix would have to subsidize it. Peacock's going to take the same amount, right? Yeah. They're like, whatever, you can do whatever you want as long as our customer acquisition fee is the same. But that's what the cable companies have been doing. They're including things like Peacock in your cable bill as if they are carriage fees. So yeah, I could see Netflix doing something like that. Like maybe you have a $10 Fast Pass add-on. Choose 4 services on your $10 thing. And it's obviously what the mobile carriers are doing as well. When they're like, if you're a subscriber to T-Mobile, you'll get the base plan of Netflix included in your subscription, no extra cost. So
you know what this is an
echo of? I
can
see Netflix doing something.
Imagine it's Netflix plus your Fave 5 or whatever, kind of like we did in the mobile minutes days. Your top 5 list.
And you can swap them out easily, like every month or 2 or something like that. All right. We got 4 other strategies that have come up. One is partner videos, more podcastery. We are soon going to see videos on Netflix from BuzzFeed, Condé Nast, People Magazine, Hearst Magazine, PMX, Tastemade. Those are all coming to the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Ireland, and they have a deal with Vox Media for all of the Vox stuff as well. What do you think of that kind of user-generated quote-unquote content?
As described right here, I think it's fine. I think the real play is to lean on the upscale reputation of Netflix. If I told you I have a show called Cordkillers and it's on YouTube, you are not at all impressed. If I told you we have a show called Cordkillers and it's on Netflix, that prestige really means something. Now, Netflix could pay us maybe $20 in a taco, and we would still take that deal and be thrilled. Yeah. So if I'm Netflix, I'm gonna have my tastemakers look at who has passionate fan bases that we can acquire all at once, who they are excited because of they're trading on the prestige of Netflix.
That goes a little bit. Well, sort of goes a little bit into this next one, which is Go Social. Apparently Netflix, along with Sony and Paramount, are all looking into buying the social media website Letterboxd, which got a little momentum during COVID with people talking about films and TV shows and everything. What if Netflix decides to buy a very niche social media platform.
I hate it on the surface, but also I think it is absolutely vital. If essentially, imagine you don't have to pay a human for it. You have a robot that's good enough that it algorithmically sifts for comment quality. And so everybody is watching a thing on that same channel where a VJ is setting up a marathon or whatever. It's like pop-up video style. If your comment, if your hot take, if your fun fact is above a threshold that can be algorithmically figured out, bloop, there your thing pops up. And then everybody knows, oh my God, Tom is watching along with this one. He always has the best takes, and everyone gets excited on there. I think it sounds dumb, but it is a key thing they need to solve for to make the live thing pop.
I get the sense that social media is old people tech, though. It is not young people tech. That's my only hesitation on this sort of thing. And I think it should be Netflix's hesitation as well.
Yeah, I don't know, though. Like, okay, young people are all doing a second screen while watching something. And if Netflix can be that second screen where they're talking to each other instead of right now, some people, it'll be
maybe
X
that's letterboxed. Maybe that could be letterboxed, but it's definitely not social media the way we think of it. Yeah. I don't know. I'm 50-50 on this one.
Yeah.
Because I think you're right about everything, but also it needs to be new, not Twitter.
Right, exactly.
And to be fair, that letterboxed isn't.
But to be honest, letterboxed is kind of a blank slate in the customer's mind, so that may be ideal.
Second to last, buy their way out of it. Hey, I know Comcast is going to split NBC Universal from Comcast. Maybe Netflix would buy it. We've talked about that as a possibility. Comcast says, no, we're not interested in doing that. But they say that now. They may change their tune later. Lionsgate is somebody that everybody thinks somebody's going to buy. Maybe Netflix buys Lionsgate. And Ted Sarandos said this, Brian. We're primarily builders, not buyers. That remains the case today. So others will speculate about our intentions because they have their own reasons for that. But our track record is clear that we have a very high bar to do any big M&A. Should Ted speak, Brian?
Well, first
we
of all,
buy something.
Yep. As we all know, the rules with Netflix are if they say it definitely is blue, then it's definitely red or upside down, backwards. However, I want to roll my eyes because I'm like, says the people who almost just bought all of Hollywood. But even then, it was in service of making great movies. So it's not totally disingenuous. But this one is a last place believability for me. It doesn't pass the straight face test for me.
All right. I think it would be smart for them to buy NBC the way it is created now, where it's Peacock and the movie studio and the profitable parts of television now that Versant has been spun out, because Netflix didn't want the TV networks from Time Warner either. So that one could make sense. Price tag might be too much for them. And not that Netflix couldn't afford it, but it just might be like, nah, that's not a good ROI. Final one, AI. AI solves everything. Use AI to deliver a more personalized, immersive, interactive experience. You can enhance your ads, your capabilities for brands, prove the quality of its series and films. In fact, in the letter to shareholders, Netflix said that this year, so far, Gen AI workflows have been used in about 300 Netflix titles, with the largest concentration of the work in post-production. That sounds to me, Brian, like they are using AI to organize and track assets and be able to look for things, not that they are creating people and putting them in the videos. And I think people lose sight of the fact that there's a lot of things these tools can do. It's not just generate video. What do you think of AI as their way to save the growth?
As you know, Tom, I am firmly of the conviction that no two people arguing about AI are having the same conversation. So break out in your mind. There's AI as creative helper, and there's AI as productivity helper. So certainly we all agree that, yes, for productivity helping, for identifying unoccupied niches, target markets, niche markets, getting a more efficient setup, 100%. I think that you could squeeze efficiencies out of that. And weirdly, I'm very mid on what it could do in terms of the creative side when it comes to background production or post-processing or what have you. But what I'm extremely bullish on is Netflix unapologetically saying, yes, there's AI in our stuff. How much? Who cares? That is a distinction that you are not getting in Hollywood right now. Right now, people are expending 3 full lungfuls to explain well, I guess it's okay for that, but now it's not. And then everyone has planted flags that they have to backtrack or use verbal jujitsu to get around. Netflix does not, and they're taking their medicine right now. Whoever's annoyed at 300 movies that they're never going to watch on Netflix will be out of breath 3 years from now when the tools are really good, and all of a sudden the same movie can come out in 50 states with 50 different hyper-localized backgrounds, and it's somehow the same movie, and we no longer hate it because it's pretty good. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah. When you stop noticing, you stop caring. And I think that's what Netflix is banking on, is like, have you noticed all the AI we used in post-production? No, you didn't. But you know who did notice? Our chief financial officer, when they were like, why is the budget so low on this? It's like, because we were more productive and efficient in making the movie. So
do you feel like Netflix does? Now, I portrayed Netflix as having a notable position on this, but I don't know. Are you underwhelmed or does that ring true?
I am not underwhelmed. No, I think Netflix, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but I think Netflix is using the fact that everyone thinks they're a big tech bro led company anyway to their advantage, to be like, yeah, AI, of course. You all assumed we were using it. Guess what? We are. Ha, mask off. We're exactly who you thought we were. And you've changed your opinion? Not at all. And so, yeah, I think it is notable that they're using that advantage in a way that a Warner Brothers Discovery cannot do, a Paramount cannot do, even an NBC Universal Comcast cannot do. And yeah, I think you accurately diagnosed that this is going to be an advantage for them because they don't have to apologize going forward, and they don't have to hem and haw about stuff or hide what they're doing, or anything like that. So I don't know how much of an effect that will have. Could be big, could be smaller. But I think it contributes. It won't contribute to revenue so much. I guess it could if it raises quality, but it'll definitely contribute to profit because and this isn't replacing people. This is, hey, we did the movie faster and wasted less time and didn't have to pay for machinery that we didn't need and all that kind of stuff.
It does contribute to us. Are the fine patrons, the folks who head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers. They're the ones who have been keeping us loud, live, and independent ever since 2012? Is that when we went indie?
2013. Yeah. End of 2013.
Holy moly. Yeah, man.
Lucky
Thank you to
13.
all of our fabulous patrons. You guys, we've alluded to it quite a bit that we're about to do a big shakeup as soon as we figure out what the big shakeup is going to be. But, you know who's going to hear about it first? The people who are our patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers. And in fact, maybe you and I, Tom, I'm just throwing this out. We'll talk about it in After Talk. What if we do kind of a live chat window where all of us hop in to the Patreon chat and just talk to everyone live, take the pulse of everyone?
Yeah. Take the pulse of the nation, the Patreon nation. Yeah.
The cord-killing nation. A nation of murderers.
Hey, we all killed the cords together. You can't arrest us all.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/Cordkillers. On to the search party. We got a trailer for Avengers Doomsday coming to theaters December 18th. I like to call this trailer, Brian, wow, there are a lot of Marvel movies I still need to see.
Yeah. So I'm right now asking a robot if they've announced a thing, because I'm going to plant my flag right now. Watching this trailer,
okay,
I had a lot of generally good feelings. It was neat to see Sir Patrick Stewart again, and it was neat to see a little Thor looking at Captain America.
Magneto.
That's right. There's only one. Hold on. There we go. There's only one thing I cared like my heart raced. And that was seeing not just the Fantastic Four in there, but specifically so much of the Thing separate from Fantastic Four. I don't know if you read back in the 80s, the Thing had his own comic because during the Secret Wars, which is what they're riffing on with Doomsday, when they went to this crazy planet, Ben Grimm was granted his fondest wish. He could become or unbecome the Thing on command. It didn't work on Earth, but it did work on this crazy battle planet. So when everybody went home, Ben Grimm stayed there, and he had his own comic, The Thing. And it was just an anthology because Battle Planet was, just little hexagons of one world to another. He was always, it was like a procedural. Loved it beyond words. The idea that the Thing, that explains the top tier talent that I got. What's his name? Moss Eberback Cumberbund. You know what I'm talking about. He's yelling at you about food. Anyway, we're going to see him being able to morph back and forth into the Thing. He's going to have his own procedural show. It's going to be my favorite thing 3 years from now. That's planting that flag. That's what I'm rooting for.
Eben Moss Backrack.
Yeah. What do you think, Tom?
Yep. I think you made me a little more excited to see this movie. And I was kind of excited to see this movie. The thing that made me the most excited was when I realized, oh no, they're keeping the X-Men that we have known. Like Kelsey Grammer is going to be in this. I was like, that'll be interesting to see. It wasn't me being excited to see them. It was more like, how are they going to handle this? I'm fascinated. And yeah, Fantastic Four coming in as a different reality. So we got the three realities, and we know it's going to be the whole Secret Wars thing. So yeah, I'll be curious just how much less popular this is than the last Avengers, given the fact that there is weariness around this, and how much the storyline becomes it's pulling people back into the Marvel universe. They're all catching up and watching because it's so good. We'll find out in December, I suppose. War Machine was the most watched film on Netflix over the first 6 months of the year. And the limited series His and Hers was the top TV title. And we will have to wait 6 months as usual to find out what was number one in the last 6 months of the year. And then after that, they're just going to give us yearly reports. Netflix is no longer going to give us a report of what we watched every 6 months. They're going to make it a yearly thing, which partly is to just get people to stop looking at the popularity of shows and look at the revenue numbers because they do these in their earnings reports. But also I think it'll have the side effect of making it a celebration. What was the biggest movie of the year on Netflix?
Yeah. It moves from, like, if you're going to go to regular updates, you want to be almost weekly, kind of like we do with the movie draft, rest in peace.
Yeah.
But then annually, it becomes more like that once a year Google zeitgeist.
Yeah, right. And 6 months is just neither, right? It's kind of split in the middle. So I think that's a decent thing for them to do. Trailer for Dune Part 3, which is the adaptation of Dune Messiah, the second book in the Dune trilogy. That is also coming on December 18th. Hence the name Doomsday, for seeing both Avengers Doomsday and Dune Part 3 on that day. What did you think of that trailer?
This trailer looked great. It weirdly, and keep in mind, when I read the books, I only read the first book, so we are now in uncharted Brian waters when it comes to the Dune universe.
Interesting.
It almost looked like I might be cheering for a Harkonnen. It looked like I was seeing a Harkonnen in a desperate, underdoggy kind of assassination attempt thing, man against nature and all that stuff. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Dune Messiah was originally conceived, I believe I have this right, that Dune Messiah was originally conceived as part of the first book. And for publisher and creative reasons, they decided to split it off and make it its own book. It is properly considered, I think, the sort of, culmination of the Muad'Dib story. And I think I don't want to be spoilery, but I think you're catching on to something, which is the moral of Dune is what happens when you win. when you become the winner? How do you not become captive to your own victory?
As somebody who has lived in the timeline where OPEC was created, and it turns out he who can destroy a thing controls a thing, it turns out the rest of the world doesn't lose interest in what goes on in the Middle East just because somebody won.
Well, no, it's more about personal winning. Like Paul Atreides is the underdog. He's the rebel. He's the persecuted character. And then he is victorious. And as you can see in the trailer, he wants to be even more victorious. But to do that, does he become the thing that he was rebelling against? Yeah. Dan Trachtenberg, friend of the show, has an untitled Friday the 13th adaptation coming out on Friday, October 13th. Friday the 13th is an adaptation of Yehudi Mercado's indie comic that is coming out Friday, October 13th, 2028. See, it's important to say the year, I think. You got a couple of years to wait, but of course, a perfect day. In fact, I think they had to wait till 2028 for there to be a Friday the 13th in October, the spooky month. So this would all make sense.
If you haven't seen it, watch the animated Predator movie that he did on Hulu, and you get a real appreciation. He's got the chops for the fast-paced, semi. I don't know how comedic it'll be, but I know that the over-the-top gore really worked in animated form, and I'm excited to see him apply that kind of sentimentality to another universe.
The only reason we threw this next one in the show is because everyone in the movie industry was really excited that Netflix won the U.S. and Latin American rights to Danny Boyle's movie Inc., which is about the early years of Rupert Murdoch's media empire. So this is like Succession, but real. The film will premiere in the Venice Film Festival competition on September 2nd. And I guess it's a big coup for Netflix to get a highly anticipated Danny Boyle movie about Rupert Murdoch, right? It ticks off so many boxes.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That is interesting because Netflix, I don't believe, has any controlled interest related to the Murdoch empire. So that puts them in an...
I guess everybody probably does if you really look close enough. But yeah, there's nothing obvious connecting them. So they'll be able to live with that. And they'll put it in theaters for 2 weeks, so they get award consideration. I will be curious if they do something more than that because they've made noises about wanting to be nicer to theaters. So we'll see. Finally, Netflix released a VHS special edition of Stranger Things Season 1, basically making it 4:3 and fuzzing it up to look like it's VCR resolution. They didn't change the audio or anything. But honestly, it was kind of worked like a fast channel for me, Brian. I threw this on and we just had it on playing in the background because we're like, oh, right, I forgot about that. Oh, it was more a good excuse to watch Season 1 again. And I almost forgot that it was the VHS special edition after a while.
I wouldn't mind. I saw recently some clever vibe-coded ways to do, like, for retro gaming and emulation, very, very realistic CRT monitor stuff. I was a little bit disappointed that from what little I saw on there, it seems like it's more of a token effort of, like you said, a little fuzzed up and then a bezel in front. I wouldn't have minded a little more realistic artifacting.
They only do it in the very beginning. They do the tracking, the little tracking errors that you get with VCR tapes. And they didn't do anything to the sound, which I guess they don't want to make it harder to hear. It's harder to see, but it's not the kind of thing where it's so hard to see you can't tell what's going on. So I don't know. It was kind of fun. And if enough people watch it, they said they'll do it to Season 2.
Yeah.
Let's move on to The Buried Treasure.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
Buried Treasure, of course, the part of the show where we talk about something we've watched that maybe you will want to experience as well. Brian, you're stealing a page from my book, I see.
Yeah, but specifically with a little bit of a twist. On our 2-week trip, a lot of places had Disney Plus logged into somebody else's account. We were able to coast on other people's accounts the entire time. But I used Series Graph, and me and the family, with intentionality, watched all of Bob's Burgers. We made it to Season 5, but not all of them. Just all of them that were green and above on there. So we're getting sort of, instead of a full experience, first, ultimate, lowest, last, we're getting like a rock skipping above the threshold experience. And there's
When you say green only, what does that?
well,
what
I
does
mean,
that mean?
8 and above, rated 8 and above is green, and then bright
On
green
IMDb.
well, yeah, because Series Graph.
Yeah, okay.
Remember it gives you the color
Got it.
heat map.
Oh,
on
right,
there.
right. Yeah. Okay, got
And-
it.
and
Yeah,
so,
and then
like-
you just manually would skip to like, okay, this is our next one. We're only
Yeah.
watching the greens. Okay, I get it. Yeah,
It's
that's
great.
cool.
It's great because you get the process, but you also, you're only getting the cream. And now there's one episode. I know nothing about it, but it's going to be in a few seasons. And there's a color I ain't never seen before, like a pale blue, like a chrome looking color, 9.8. And I looked on the key, it says Absolute Cinema. And I have no idea what that one episode of Bob's Burgers is, but me and the family looking forward to catching up to it.
I don't recognize it by the name.
Yeah, go to see. Oh, no. Like that's the quality rating. They've got
Oh.
good, very good, excellent, and then they've got this
okay.
Absolute Cinema one. You'll probably know what episode it is. And then while you're looking that up, I'll also
I
mention.
need to find out.
Yeah, well, here you look, and I'll tell people about the other thing. Is I showed Josie the first episode of The Pit like a night and a half ago. So anyway, now we're on episode 8 of The Pit.
The Plight Before Christmas.
Oh,
From 2022. I watched this when it was new. I didn't think
Wow.
it was exceptional, but do you want to know the log line?
nope. I look forward
Okay.
to being surprised.
There you go. Well, that is Bob's Burgers. We were also on travels, staying in hotels and such, and we definitely used the TV to watch YouTube, and that's kind of about it. In fact, it was funny. In one hotel, I got in and I'm like, oh, I forgot to ask the Wi-Fi password. So I called down to the front desk. Can you tell me the Wi-Fi password I forgot? And they're like, it's on your TV. I'm like, it's on a sticker on the, like, no, turn on your TV. This is the first thing you see. And I'm like, oh, I didn't think about turning on the television. So I did. And it was one of those hotel channels. And the first thing they put was the QR code and the Wi-Fi password and all that. Anyway, one thing we did watch when we were on our trip was the World Cup. But because we were in Germany and Switzerland and in the German speaking part of Switzerland, we were watching it in German. And I have to say, highly recommend, if you don't speak German, to watch the World Cup in German, because it sounds really funny and interesting. And it doesn't have the same effect of watching it in Spanish that we get in North America, where you watch like Telemundo or something, where you get the much more excited and animated folks. But it is interesting to hear what Germans are excited about, and then to hear them speaking German about it, especially when
amazing.
you don't speak German. Yeah. So I recommend watch the World Cup in German if you don't speak German. If you speak German, I'm sure you probably already watched it in German.
Then
and
watch it in
perfectly
Tagalog.
Yeah, exactly. Watch it and let us know how that goes for you. By the way, according to Deadline, the World Cup caused Fox One to get 2.8 million signups. So
Wow.
that live thing that we were talking about with Netflix, that worked for Fox, got people to sign up there. If you got something we should be on the lookout for, email us, cordkillers@gmail.com. Well, Brian, it is my time to tell you that I have started a new book.
Oh my gosh. I read about this because I subscribed over at freetomnewsletter.com. And I
you do.
saw that you had people vote on which one that you'd be able to see samples of. Is that right?
That is correct. However, I was a little disappointed with how it turned out.
Oh no,
And
you were cheering
I
for-
think I know what I did wrong. There is a very polished book that is the book that is coming out, called The Bookmobile. It's about a bookmobile in space run by a wizard. That's the one that's going to be coming out. Tell you more about that in a second. There was another book that was a little less polished, that is about two kids who go to a 700-year-old dark spaceship that's nobody knows why it's there, and they accidentally get it started and go off on adventures. But the third one I called Tom GPT. I was like, I'll just start writing a story, and you tell me what I should do next in the story. And nobody voted for that one. And I think, oh, it's not because they don't want to tell me what to write. It's because I called it Tom GPT.
Oh, really?
And they're probably like, he's just going to use Chat GPT. I don't want that.
No,
so I probably should have named it something else.
I don't know. But it also implies that they have to maybe do homework or.
Yeah. I think I could have phrased that better. But the winner was the bookmobile, which starts out with the wizard who runs the bookmobile spaceship telling all of the gathered horrors and mummies and vampires that he is no longer going to operate a house of horrors, a haunted house spaceship. He is going to transition to becoming a bookmobile because he can't make money. But don't worry, he's saving them all in the hard drive on the spaceship. And then the story continues from there. So if you want to get that story, the first chapter is free, available right now, freetomnewsletter.com.
Awesome.
Let's scan the horizon.
Send a scanning to abort.
Scanning the horizon!
Oh, you thought we were done with Paramount buying Warner Brothers Discovery, but no! U.S. Federal District Judge Araceli Martinez Olguin granted a restraining order that pauses the Paramount merger with Warner Brothers Discovery until August 3rd. I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. The restraining order says, while I look into this, you can't finish your merger. And Paramount's like, well, we weren't going to buy August 3rd anyway, so fine. They could then do an injunction while he looks into it, which would delay it even further. And then they actually have to do the trial where they determine whether it be antitrust or not. The judge wrote in granting the restraining order that evidence of the market share for wide release theatrical distribution, just that, persuaded the court that, quote, the proposed merger is likely to violate antitrust laws. If that holds through the case, this merger is off, and Paramount owns a lot of money to Warner Brothers Discovery. Remember, even if it doesn't get prevented by the court case, if they delay it long enough, there is a ticking fee of 25 cents a share for every quarter after September 30th that the deal is delayed. So Paramount really wants this to close by September 30th so they don't owe any extra money. But we're talking about $7 million a day after September 30th. Paramount has offered concessions in a bid to smooth over European Commission concerns. The European Commission has extended its deadline to January 22nd. So it looks like they might get European approval. Like extending the deadline means, okay, we think we can come to an agreement. We're not going to prevent this, at least not before January 22nd. And the UK Culture Secretary said she is minded to intervene. So they might have a problem brewing in the UK, but we haven't heard anything more on that yet.
You know what's interesting, Tom, is, and again, I am very far on the outside of this. You probably would know better than I. I could understand there being a credible case for this is an unfair advantage in the realm of theatrical releases. But meanwhile, it occurs to me that all this precedent was set back when theatrical releases were a monopoly utility of entertainment culture to small towns. And now the whole category itself seems so tiny compared to other ways to monetize that I don't know, like, does a category get small? Like, for example, with vinyl pressing, do we worry about one company having too important of a dominant position in that?
I think a market has to be extremely small for a judge to go, you know what? It's fine that you're monopolizing it. It's not that big of a market anyway. And
we're
I don't
a ways
think
before theatrical
I don't think
releases
movies are
Okay.
that small.
All right.
Yes, they're smaller than they used to be, but they're still huge. And Paramount and Warner Brothers would have 30% of theatrical distribution, which isn't all of it. You may say like, oh, well, for a monopoly, don't they have to have all of it? No, antitrust, they just have to be causing a disadvantage in the marketplace, able to use their weight to drive up prices, able to use their weight, to force salaries down. is that possible? That's what the judge is going to look at. And 30% is just large enough that this judge thinks, yeah, I think they would. And I don't care about their TV shows. I don't care about their streaming. I don't see any antitrust problems there. I do see an antitrust problems with theatrical distribution, which would cause an interesting dilemma. Would Paramount buy everything but Warner Brothers movie studio? Because that could satisfy
because
the judge.
then you're breaking out, oh, that's interesting. But then why would they want that? Or, well, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they probably want the IP. So if they can keep the IP but not own the movie studio.
Oh, yeah, you could break all of that out. Interesting.
Because it's the theatrical distribution part of the business that specifically the judge was after. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting one to watch, of course. The U.S. Federal Communications Commission is going to vote on August 6th on whether to change its enforcement of the national television ownership rule. The Congress of the United States passed that rule that is supposed to prevent a single broadcast station owner from reaching more than 39% of all TV households in the U.S. The FCC says we're not overturning what Congress passed. We're changing our enforcement to a case-by-case basis. The FCC believes that the way the law is written, they have discretion to give waivers in certain cases. And what this rule change, what their application of the rule change would be is instead of saying the presumption is that it's not allowed, that they will just look at it on a case-by-case basis, and they might allow some concentrated ownership, but not others.
I don't know. I think it's interesting that 5 years ago, FCC was almost always associated with interesting internet things, and now FCC is always associated with weird 1980s ratings
legacy media.
Yeah, it's just so backwards
I don't know how to
facing.
feel about this because I don't like concentrated ownership of anything. On the other hand, it goes kind of to what you were saying about the theaters. Like, is local television a big enough market that it matters if you've got an owner that reaches more than 39% of TV households? Like, maybe it does. Maybe it still does. But we're just talking about the local channels. We're not talking about the national networks. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Disney Plus is exploring the introduction of a new free tier to attract more users to the streaming service, a fast tier, so to speak. Basically, everybody else has this. Netflix doesn't, but Amazon has its free view. Fox has Tubi. Pluto is Comcast NBC's version of it. Zumo is Comcast NBC's. Pluto is Paramount's version. So everybody's got some kind of free ad-supported tier. Disney is kind of behind the ball here, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think that was by design because Disney was so late to the streaming party that they needed to bring a certain level of legitimacy and prestige with it. And then now they can sort of relax a bit because I think they're so well established.
Well, you know, what's funny is Hulu started as a freemium service, right? You could pay to get rid of the ads, but you could watch everything without ads. And if you long-time listeners of Cordkillers will remember, I used to be adamantly against paying for Hulu. I was someone who was like, no, I can get everything free with the ads. Why would I pay for it? And then they got rid of that tier, and I became someone who was like, I'm not paying for Hulu. I will just keep my subscription paused until such time as which I need it. And then eventually I needed it because they made stuff that made me want to watch it. So they have had a freemium service in their history, even though Disney didn't fully own Hulu at the time. Peacock subscribers will be given the option to sign up within the app for a subscription to Stars. So if Netflix does add Peacock, will that allow someone to add Stars to their Peacock subscription and then watch Stars and Netflix, thus reuniting them?
I mean, who even knows anymore?
And finally, we could not do this show without acknowledging that The Odyssey from Christopher Nolan led the box office with $263.7 million, an opening record for Nolan in any of his movies. The best ever start overseas with $140.2 million from 73 territories, and his third best opening in North America alone with $123.5 million.
Have you seen it yet, Tom?
No, I haven't.
I've
Heard nothing but good things from everybody.
I actually, like, if I'm going to bother to care about IMAX, I kind of want to go all the way to 70 millimeter, like actual film. But get this, in Austin, there's a bit of a controversy because there's only one place you can see the 70 millimeter print. And guess what? Their AC is busted. So now they have 6 industrial trucks piping AC in there, and they are limiting it to only half full because otherwise it gets too hot in there. And so now I'm like, do I want to be one of those worshiping at the altar of presentation people or what?
Yeah. Or do I want to be comfortable?
Yeah.
Listen, man, no joke. Whenever we do these kinds of AC conversations, air conditioning conversations, there's always a little part of my mind that hears that little European voice that's like, oh, you Americans, you're over-reliant on your AC. And I just want to say, having been in 90 degrees in London and Munich and Switzerland, I expect that little voice may be saying something slightly different. Let's hold for the chatter, please. Got mail. We got an email from Ken who said, I just watched your streaming hardware episode and thought it was fairly thorough. However, Tom forgot to mention a Google TV streamer alternative he's brought up in the past, which is Walmart's ONN 4K Pro. This has more features than Google's product, like hands-free Gemini, which can be turned on or off with a physical switch, a button on the front of the unit for finding the remote, a rear USB port to add extra storage, and a live TV button on the remote. The 2026 edition also has more RAM and a light-up remote. Now, if I could only get a Plex server capability, I could kick my old Shield TV to the curb. Keep on killing it. Your loyal viewer, Ken. Ken, thank you for charitably believing that I just forgot instead of didn't think about it at all. So I appreciate that. But yeah, no, that's good. Also, there just wasn't room to mention everything, but I think this one is deserving of a mention. So I appreciate that as well. We also got a couple of letters. I'm not going to read them all, every word of them, but Bill near Athens and Toby both wrote in about TV time coming to a close. They stopped their service on July 15th while we were out. And both were wondering, like, hey, is there a thing I can use for that? And yes, Bill actually has already cottoned to the fact that you can export some of your data from TV time into Tracked, T-R-A-K-T. He said he was having a hard time getting his movie data out, that it was giving his TV shows, but not his movies. So if anybody knows about that, I could not find any evidence that that's a commonplace thing. So I'll keep looking at that. And then Bill asked which Tracked app I use, because I have mentioned Tracked before. I use Tracked to keep my data of what I watch. And I've changed apps over the years, but they've always been apps that are integrated with Tracked. And of course, my phone just updated its operating system, so now it's asking me to agree to all these terms of service.
Oh, I'm sure you're reading all of them completely.
Yes, now. That's what's taking me so long. Reframe or expand your shot in liquid glass. Okay, thanks. Yeah, no, that's great. Just get me to a TVST is the app I use. Kind of looks like this. TVST, logged into Tracked, so it gets all the Tracked info and shows up. That is the app I use. It is iOS and Android, so you can check that out if you want. Bill, thank you, Bill and Toby. And yeah, I know TV Time was a really popular one, and it's sad that it's going away. Adam in San Diego says, as a follow-up to your streaming TV guide, I want to share a perspective that trades some convenience for money saving. While bundling subscriptions through one service is convenient and ideal, in my opinion, I usually subscribe directly through each streaming provider because I often use credit card offers, such as those from Chase and Amex. Their apps have an offers section that frequently include deals that give statement credits when you pay the merchant directly. For example, I've used offers like spend $25 on Disney Plus, get $7 back up to 3 times, which effectively gives me discounted as free Disney Plus bundle for 3 months. I'm currently getting 3 free months of Paramount Plus ad-free tier through an Amex offer of spend $15, get $15 back up to 3 times. Takes a little more effort to manage since I have to subscribe and pay directly with each service and track which card I'm using, but it does equate to $15 to $25 a month savings.
Very good.
Yeah, good way to save money. And then Richard Gunther said, great roundup of all the methods for accessing content, but you forgot DVDs. LOL, JK. However, I am still on team buy the disc for movies. Sony's recent announcement about the unceremoniously shutting down and removing their movie library kind of validates that decision in my mind. Every movie I've bought on Blu-ray or DVD or HD DVD is still backed up and available to me in Plex. As for streaming services, I have occasionally added providers as a channel to either Apple TV or Prime Video, but one problem I've encountered is that if you're in a situation where you don't have your primary aggregator in a rental property or a hotel or in flight, then you can't access those channels. Many do not provide access to the standalone app if you only subscribe as a channel. Additionally, I found that some services, Paramount is the first example that comes to mind, have content in the app that isn't available when it's just an add-on channel.
Yep. Good point.
Yeah. And Paramount's one that used to not let you log into the app if you had the add-on, but they do now. So that is quite helpful. And then we have one sassy and or pedantic email from Sean who says, Tom giving the example of season 9 Rick and Morty being exclusive to TV services like YouTube Live and Hulu shocked me, since I have never been a subscriber of those services, at least not in 7 to 8 years, yet I'm keeping up with the 9th season of Rick and Morty, and here's a screenshot of HBO Max offering the 5th episode of season 9.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure it was AI generated. I don't believe anything. Photos are no longer evidence.
I have noticed that Rick and Morty is one of those ones that just jumps around. Like sometimes it's been available on Hulu and then not. And I've seen it on HBO Max and then gone back and it wasn't there anymore. So I think it's like Brigadoon. You have to believe that Rick and Morty is on HBO Max and then it will show up for you. So commendations to Sean for being a believer. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we are live on twitch.tv/nightattack and youtube.com/modernrogue Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. I reckon we'll talk to you next time.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Changing my color temperature so my teeth are whiter. Whiter.
You're whiter.
All right, here. I'll be right back.
Okay. You couldn't be more whiter. Remington Steele.
Yeah.
I'm going to save everything about Remington Steele for full experience, but you watched it, right?
I did.
Amos? Yeah.
I'd never seen it before.
I don't think I've seen this episode since 1982.
This was interesting. It was a different type of pilot.
I was just happy it was 45 minutes or whatever and not an hour and a half movie special.
Come on, Tom.
I watched it on a plane. On my
How'd
phone.
that go?
It went fine. I had downloaded it. You know what? Actually, now that I say that, I watched it on the plane. I had Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi wasn't working. And so I launched the Apple TV app, which is where I bought it and downloaded it. And the Apple TV app does this annoying thing where it just spins its little wheel while it looks for the internet, if it thinks the internet should be there. And I'm like, no, I just want my downloaded thing. Shut up. Stop looking for the internet. And it was probably only 30 seconds, but it felt like forever. And then
30
it finally
seconds
showed
too
up.
long.
Yep, exactly. But then it took me to the download page and it was fine.
Yeah.
And I got to see Remington Steel.
Cool.
Who's ready for Remington Steel?
I'm ready.
I'm going to keep calling him Remington.
Remy.
Ready to go?
Hey, this is Remy.
Yeah. Whoa. That was amazing. Yeah, go ahead and take us in, Ryan.
Sure.
Welcome to the full experience, folks. This is our attempt to find out which television shows you can watch just 4 episodes of and act as if you've seen the entire run of the show. We watch the first, the ultimate, the lowest, and the last. We see the show at its beginning, at its end, at its best, at its worst. And then we see, hey, do we feel pretty conversant with what this show is about? We are beginning our watch of Remington Steel, which is, of course, another mystery show. We've got to type these days. We're coming off Murder, She Wrote not that long ago, doing Remington Steel now, starting with License to Steal, episode 101, the first episode, which first aired October 1st, 1982. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Tom, I immediately noticed how understated the intro was for this, which we often see in pilots. For some reason, I thought she was an author. I had forgotten that this was the story of a woman in a boy's world. Well, fine, I'll just create a fake boy. I'm excellent at my work. And yet, and that kind of made it by the end. We'll kind of skip to the end because spoiler alert, you know, she very casually lets this dude come in and be the face of her organization, which I found a bit eyebrow raising.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, am I the only one who thought my frame rate was bad during the opening credits?
Oh yeah.
When they were doing still frames.
It's interesting because it was erratic. It didn't have a steady rhythm to it. It sped up and slowed down. It was really weird.
Yeah, we did get the typical of this era, as we know from Murder, She Wrote, like, here's what you're about to watch tonight on Remington Steel.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, it makes me rethink the shape of YouTube videos now. I don't hate YouTube videos half as much as I hate the spoilers right before the episode you're about to watch.
But yeah, this was a very feminist pilot episode especially for 1982, which is I am a perfectly capable investigator, but because I'm a woman, people don't give me the time of day. So I created this fictional boss so that they will take us seriously. And I'm a perfectly good investigator, which is also why I need to wear this men's hat.
I mean, that's fine enough. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of subtext that they're going to explain as the show goes forward. For my money, though, I got to admit, around the 20-minute mark, I was underwhelmed by everything up until the moment the whole thing became very clever in my book was the moment when we had already seen, I guess, Pierce Brosnan pretending to be both the special agent Ben so-and-so and Remington Steel. And then there's that moment when he's standing next to the special agent, and then one character says, there's an imposter. And like, if you map out the characters, that they're thinking of the wrong, because to one of them, he's the imposter of the special agents. To the other, he's the imposter of Remington Steel. And then in his flip-flop, that was when it got really fun all at once. And then watching him, all of his best moves were keeping his mouth shut and letting people and figuring out what's going on here. I enjoyed it quite a bit by the end.
Yeah, I think this had some really great moments, interspersed with some very mundane moments. I don't know that it ever got truly bad, in my opinion. There was the very predictable secretary flirting with Brosnan, who wasn't Remington Steele at that point. So I'm not even sure what to call him. But you know, there was some stuff like that. Also, the motivation for the gems was very flimsy,
Very convoluted.
We want to sell this car, so we're going to have these gems, which we're actually never going to show you. And what I really want to do is sell the automobile. Oh, nobody wants to buy my automobile. Maybe I'll steal the gems that I was bringing in to try to get. Yeah, it was very convoluted, but yeah,
followed by a wacky golf cart chase at the end. It was kind of wackety schmackety
through what I think was the Long Beach airport. Maybe, I'm not sure. But then there was, tell me, Miss Holt, how did you become a dick? One of the greatest lines after the horrible line about being aroused. That was right before it, but they just played it straight. I love that. I don't know. Avoiding the temptation to acknowledge that confusion, though, when Laura and the gem guy come over and they're talking about an imposter. Yeah, that was gold. That was really good stuff.
The toughest thing that I was skeptical of as I was watching it was like, okay, how is she just going to let him barge in and be Remington Steele? And they did offer enough of an immediate and obvious upside between all of the press, between all of the open arms and stuff, that I'm like, yeah, she's hungry enough that she invented a Remington Steele to begin with. And now, like, as long as she trusts enough, and again, it's earned because she assumes he's going to steal the gems. And then he's like, he at least seems to be genuinely offended. Be like, I said I wouldn't, though. And it's like, okay, provisionally, if you're going to barge in and play the character, I could see that working.
I'm not sure I understand, not even but understand his motivation for not going to San Francisco.
Because the gems were recovered and sent back, because San Francisco was the next stop for the gems. He was going to get them then, but they've been recovered and sent back to South Africa. And so lacking the gems to go to San Francisco.
So he doesn't have the quest to return them to South Africa.
This is
but
a much
also,
more
I never really
interesting
bought
gig.
that was his quest. So I'm like, so he just decided, like, well, instead of being an international jewel thief, I'll just become Remington Steele. Like,
well, and to be honest,
it felt like I needed a little something more there.
Well, this is the downside of it not being a 2-hour season premiere
I
at the
guess
beginning.
so.
But there's no shortage of mysteries with this character. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't know
And I'm
his
sure
real name or backstory.
I'm sure if we kept going, we would see them doled out slowly, you know, over the episodes. Another mystery here, another mystery there. I do recall, because I don't think I've seen this since 1982 when it aired, but I do recall that the show did like to play with that tension of like, are you still trustworthy? Like, are you somebody who's not going to screw me over one way or another? Because, you know, in the eyes of the world, you are the owner of this company, and that could be very bad. I'll be curious if we get a sense of that in doing the other 3 episodes.
I did like that moment where you got a little bit of Vic Mackey vibes, where he just effortlessly, confidently starts snowing his way through everything. The answer is always, of course. And finally, you're here. And then it's like, let's go. Here, take my car. Don't be late. Also, those men are out to kill you. Let me call the cops. Go again. Like, that felt straight out of The Shield.
No, you're right. And Vic Mackey has a lot of con man aspect to him. Remington Steele clearly, well, Pierce Brosnan, whoever he is before he becomes Remington Steele, clearly a con man, and kind of fun that we don't actually know who he really is. I enjoyed it. I watched this on a flight. And it held my attention. Granted, when you're on a flight, you don't have as many competitions for your attention. But you know, sometimes you even get bored and like, I don't want to do this. I want to do something else to take my mind off of this long flight. So this worked for 45 minutes or so. I don't know if you had this. I remember Pierce Brosnan being older than he looked in this.
I was like, look at that baby.
Stephanie Zimbalist being younger than she looked in this.
It's crazy. He looks like a 1980s Tony Robbins character. It was crazy.
And I know our memories are colored by the fact that he eventually becomes James Bond, and he's much more chiseled and several years older at that point. But man, I remember him being like the suave adult British man, and Stephanie Zimbalist being this very young, upstart. And Stephanie Zimbalist, she didn't look old to me, but I'm like, no, she looks like an adult, not like a girl. And Brosnan, on the other hand, does look like a little boy in some ways.
Yeah, smooth though. Looked really smooth, and I enjoyed him. It was fun to watch the nonverbal solving of what's up with Remington Steele, and you see him look at each of the pieces and put it together that there is no Remington Steele.
They did a fairly good job most of the time of not telling you the things that are obvious and just letting it be like, well, he's obviously figuring it out. We don't need to tell you that he's figuring it out. So yeah, I liked that. Our producer Amos had never seen an episode of Remington Steele. So Amos, come on in and let us know. Had you seen him as James Bond even, or just never as Remington?
Oh, he was
so
just
you've never
always
seen Pierce Brosnan in anything.
He was always just the guy from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Nailed it.
So we know your priors. What'd you think?
I thought it was an interesting way to put a pilot where the story kind of develops. It gives you the premise, and then you watch the development of what will be the story, as opposed to giving you the story as the preamble, the whole pretense of it, and then kind of just filling in the blanks as, well, this is what happens. It kind of give you just the slightest hint of it, and then let you actually see the development of what will be the rest of the series.
I hadn't thought about this. This may be one of the best pilot origin story episodes we've watched.
I literally was having the thought that the brinksmanship is well earned in the Mexican standoff of who has the upper hand, and it's all undersold. It was oversold in like Moonlighting with this kind of cartoonish over the top energy, but this was very subtle where it's like, is she going to go for that? But there was no moment that really stretched credulity or snapped me out of it, at least.
It was a good story. Like, this could be an episode within the universe of another kind of show, right? Where maybe it's a show about the FBI guy, right? And you see him like trying to catch this thing, and it's not the setup for a series. In fact, if there's a weakness to this pilot, it's that this episode almost feels like it could be standalone. It's like, and then he became Remington Steele. The end.
Well, and maybe it's a bit colored because we just came off of watching the original miniseries. But I agree. If this was just a 2-hour thing, it would feel like just a made-for-TV movie.
Yep.
Any other observations?
The only thing that really
first
snapped me out of
watchings?
it was the Hollywood production tropes of when they were doing the wacky car races, and then they runs into boxes conveniently all filled with styrofoam peanuts.
Yeah.
Everything was very sterile.
Started to play at the end. Yeah. But yeah, mostly.
There were a few things that were a little off-putting, like when they just moved the body, and then they come to get the body, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, we know you moved it, but you cut the guy, so I guess it's okay."
So we'll call it even. Yeah, nobody. Every television show is like, you can't touch the body; it's spoiling the crime scene. Until now, Remington Steele, they're like, "Oh yeah, move the body around wherever you want. It's fine, not a problem. We don't have forensics yet.
As long as they admit it, you're fine."
Yeah. I guess we don't need forensics. We caught the guys.
It does kind of have its own set of rules, kind of everything snaps into it. It's like old school kind of Murder, She Wrote rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If that's all we've got on,
I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Okay, good. Yeah. I think I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I have fond memories of Remington Steele. It was one of my favorite shows at the time that it was new. But I figured it wouldn't hold up. And I don't know if it entirely held up, but it held up better than I thought it would.
Well, and I think it does suffer from the fact that we just watched Magnum PI and Murder, She Wrote, and I would put it above Murder, She Wrote in terms of being a fit for Brian, you know, what with the con man stuff, but
Yeah.
it's no Magnum PI.
Yeah, I actually early on in watching this, it struck me. I'm like, oh, they're using a lot of the world's greatest con premises that you talk about on the world's greatest con. You know, like how to convince people and persuade people and all of that. So, yeah. That is Remington Steele, License to Steal 101 from October 1st, 1982. Our next episode will be the ultimate, the one that has the highest rating on IMDb, Scene Stealers. By the way, as with many of the shows from this era, we have a trope, we have a method to the naming. Every episode will have the word steal in it somehow. License to Steal was the pilot episode. Scene Stealers, not S-T-A, but S-T-E-E-L-E-R-S, which is season 2, episode 8 from November 15th, 1983. That'll be the next one we talk about on The Full Experience. You get these episodes early. You get to weigh in on what we talk about. You get to hear us decide what we're going to watch next if you are a patron. So if you're not already, become one now. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Do we need Full Experience music?
Maybe we could do that.
I kind of want a 1980s TV theme song.
You know what?
It'd be really nice if we had, I know this is a little far-fetched, but if we had a theme song for Full Experience that would have minor changes to put it kind of in the decade of the show that we're watching. Like,
oh,
you know,
yeah,
right
we
now
have
it'd have
like
an
a
80s
theme song,
feel.
but it could
Yeah.
have a very different style based
Yeah.
on what decade. I love that.
Yeah. That'd be amazing.
That would be fun. All right. Well, so long, live people. We're doing the full after talk.
We're doing the
Full
after
after
talks.
talk.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.